Each day we strive to make it Black home, Black to the future, Black in one piece. Where being Black is a bop, like a song we replay every 3 minutes and 30 seconds of every day. Where being Black is a vibe, all the time. You're listening to TMBP Media with your host, Dr. Tasha. Today on Black in One Piece, we have Phylicia Thompson. Thank you so much for being with us, Phylicia. To kick us off, can you share what you do professionally and then any other information you feel we need before we jump into this conversation?
I am the CEO and owner of Beatz Boutique, which is a women's clothing boutique in downtown Wichita. Mm-hmm. I am a co-founder of Bringing It Black. Mm-hmm. So I do a little bit. Mm-hmm,
mm-hmm. What is your hometown?
I was born in Chicago. I actually was in Chicago until I was in 6th grade. Wichita, Kansas really raised me. Yeah. This is where I consider home. Yeah. This is where my family is. This is where I met my amazing husband and have my beautiful children. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So we dub cat.
Yes. Okay. Who would you want to play you in a biopic?
Ooh. I first think of Gabrielle Union.
Ooh, that's
or like
good.
A Kiki, because Kiki is my Virgo sister. So either one.
You might have to get with Zoe, because Zoe picked Kiki as well.
Did
so y'all
she?
gonna have to,
I love that. I mean, she's such a vibe, her energy. Mm-hmm. I follow her on social. Yeah. And she's a big part of our childhood.
Definitely.
Like, growing up, that was the Black girl, okay?
Yeah. She could do Zoe and Phylicia. So let's say you weren't available for today.
Okay.
Who could I have called to learn all things Phylicia?
My husband or my mama, okay?
Aww,
Either one of them would definitely know me down. Honestly, my daughter, she thinks she know a little bit of everything.
Okay. What is your unpopular opinion? What's that thing that you believe 100%, you don't care what nobody else say, but other people are like, Phylicia, now, come on.
You can wear white whenever.
I believe that too. That's a good one because a lot of people...
They're like, Labor Day, no white. And I'm like, listen, wear what you feel.
Yes.
So do you.
I like that. How do you identify when it comes to race and ethnicity?
I probably immediately want to go African American, but I'm a Black woman. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do you define Blackness?
Just in my way of being. I was raised by Black parents, so the way I move, the way I change my hair, the way that, I mean, it's just so much. It's hard to say one thing to describe because we're just a little bit of everything. So I love that about us.
Yeah.
Okay.
I define something called peak Blackness as those moments when you're in a space, you're watching something, maybe you're scrolling, and you're just like, I love us. I love being Black. What is a moment like that for you?
Well, I just had one at the Blackout ICT Awards. Listen, what a beautiful moment to be in a space with beautiful Black people celebrating, supporting each other, networking, cheering for each other. Yeah. And at the end of the night, a little turn up. Okay, that is peak Blackness. Okay, 100%. That's 100%. My definition.
Oh, we had such a good time. My husband and I, my whole family was there. Yeah. Definitely enjoyed the turn up after, but absolutely peak Blackness.
100%.
Yeah.
Feels good.
So have you ever wanted to be anything other than Black?
No, ma'am. Never.
Yeah.
Like, I was brought up by strong Black parents that knew the importance of being Black, knowing where I come from. My mama making sure that I know what my grandma had to go through, my great-grandma had to go through. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In doing research focused on colorism, hair discrimination, and particularly how it impacts Black women attending predominantly white institutions, inevitably the conversations came back to, one, how these things showed up for them young, 4, 5, 6 years old, all the way up to and through college and then beyond. They would talk about the impact in their professional lives or things that they heard advisors telling them about how they could or should wear their hair, what's professional. How would you describe your skin complexion and hair? And do you feel it's played a role in your experience of Blackness or just how you move in the world?
I'm a brown skinned girl. Growing up, I was very much aware of that. I don't necessarily say it was a negative thing, though. It's really because who I was raised by. I know the beauty in that. I have curly, textured, natural hair. It's straight right now because I got me a little Bobbiana.
It is. The bob is bobbing, y'all.
It's bobbing. Thank you. But I always found beauty in that, to be able to switch up our hair, do something different. Maybe it's not deemed professional maybe in some space because I do a good braid, okay? And I like it past the buttocks, okay? But I will absolutely go in these spaces how I'm feeling at the moment, and I still consider myself as professional and dress the way that I dress, and I'm going to show up as myself and as my full self, and I'm okay with that. And if I feel like I shouldn't be in that space, I won't be in that space if it doesn't make sense for me. We've been in spaces where it's a couple of us, so that could feel and maybe look different, but I'm still going to show up as me. That's all I know to do.
Exactly. When I'm teaching, every semester it never failed that someone's coming up to me either to ask about resources, because if they're not from the area, they don't know where to go for certain stuff, or to literally ask, do you think this is okay? I have an interview coming up. And they used to do these appreciation gifts, like a mason jar, and everybody wrote a little note. I had 2 young Black women in the class. They both wrote something about my hair, because I was always wearing it in a fro, in braid, like whatever. Yeah. It just touched me that the note they chose to write was about liking seeing my hair in a different way. I say all that to say that I love that that's also how you're showing up. It's just you, but it also is so impactful to upcoming generations.
I worked in a middle school for a long time, and that was a big thing. We could sit here and say we show up how we want to show up, but that's a privilege in itself because they're not in that space. These are middle school young women who are trying to figure out how to even love themselves in a space that is telling you, this is not how it's supposed to look. This is not what you're supposed to be doing. For us, it's a privilege. But for them, they're learning and navigating that space. And that comes with time because everyone is not like, I'm confident, I'm going to show up in a fro. It took me a long time to wear my hair natural. I'm like maybe 10 years in at this point. But growing up, I wanted my hair permed. I want a flat iron. It's thick. I want it straight. I want it flat because these are beauty standards. These are what we're taught are beauty standards. It's definitely been a learning process. It takes time to get there, to feel comfortable, and to be able to choose like, oh, this space does not serve me. I'm going to move around. Versus people that feel like, oh, I have to be in this space in order to get to the next level. Listen, if I got to be in this space to get to the next level, I don't know if that's for me. This was the route that I see maybe seems easier, but maybe God has a different route for me.
You talked about your family impacting how you see Blackness. Are there any other things that have shaped your view of Blackness?
My family is the staple of that. Life experiences, of course, coming to Wichita, and how maybe I wasn't as impacted, but my older siblings and my mom was a culture shock. Hearing them speak about that, maybe that as well.
Shifting gears a bit, doing my research, I learned that you started Two Beatz as a mobile boutique, and we know that you've had your storefront for a while. It's amazing, Two Beatz Boutique. So as a Black woman navigating entrepreneurship, how have you moved through the business scene in Wichita and beyond as a Black woman when it comes to thinking about resources and sometimes how we don't have access to certain things or capital? What are some of those things that have been challenges but also successes for you? And are there any tools or tips that would help others?
First off, Two Beatz Boutique. Two Beatz, the name is like my kids. I have 2 kids, so it's like 2 heartbeats. Two Beatz Boutique. Everyone always thinks it's music. I'm like, no. It's 2 heartbeats, but it is spelled with a Z, so I get it. I was working a job and I wasn't in love, but I was going to school to get my social work degree. I knew I wanted to do something different. I knew this is not something that I love. And I was speaking to my dad, and he's like, trust yourself. A lot of times we second guess and we don't trust ourselves. And we're almost taught not to trust other people. I just want to give a shout out to Christina Long to have her in our community and connect us to different resources and information. I started going to the Create campaign, like the first, I jumped off. So it's honestly a privilege to sit on her panel this year. She's taught importance so many of us. It's truly a blessing. That's definitely a great resource if you're starting out or even if you're further along. If I wasn't on a panel, I'm still showing up to these workshops because they're still helpful for me, even as I grow my business. Then I got connected with the garages. I started off online and then the online transitioned to mobile. But I always dreamed of having my brick and mortar because one of the pieces I love about fashion, it really brings us together. It's not, oh, this is ugly. It brings us together. It's a conversation piece. I can walk in here and be like, girl, your glasses are beautiful. Oh, yeah. Where'd you get them from? Yeah. Or if you're walking past a stranger, you give them a compliment. You spark up a conversation. Yeah. It's just really, it's a beautiful thing to bring us all together. I always wanted to make sure that I had a brick and mortar because I wanted that piece. I want to speak to women. I want to pour into them and they pour into me. My customers are everything. I leave feeling full. I got connected with the garages and at first I was like, who is these white people and what you want from me? I'm not going to lie, okay? The program is to basically help you get into a retail space quickly, maybe quicker than you would normally, all the processes that you have to do. So when I got connected with them, the trust factor came in like, what do you want? It just doesn't feel right. But it felt right. Yeah. It was weird that it felt right, but I was trying to fight it. That was really a great resource in order to get in my space. I was doing the work. I had been doing the work for a while. To have that connecting piece was really, really nice. My boutique is in downtown Wichita. It's not a lot of Black folk down there. When I was starting to get my space, I was like, oh my gosh, I've never been into downtown Wichita this much. It just didn't seem like an area for me. A lot of the events and different things didn't necessarily connect. So there was no reason to go. When you walk in my space, you see Black art from Mulberry Art Studio and they're amazing artists. You get a hit of Blackness. Other cultures, races are coming in the store, but they see what it is, the music, the vibe, the energy. But the fashion connects us. And for them to even, where's this art from? This is beautiful. And then I can connect them to them. Absolutely. And it just kind of a snowball effect. It's nice to be able to blend and do that in Central Wichita.
You and I are both in the thread, cohort 7. We've both participated in a variety of leadership, personal development programs. We mentioned alignment, discernment before. What does authentic connection look like for you? And is that something you've been able to easily develop, or do you have to work at it?
I think I definitely have to work at it. It's always a work in progress because it's important, especially in business, entrepreneurship, having connections, knowing people. It's almost like you have to do it to a certain extent, but I love doing it as well.
Let's talk about bringing it Black.
Yeah.
You, with your partners, have created this platform for uplift and to support Black-owned businesses. I have had the pleasure of vending with Bringing It Black twice now, December 2022 or November. It was November. That was my very first vending situation. It was the perfect setting for me to get my feet wet because it was good vibes, low key, people who were patient. I was really thankful for that experience, and I was like, I want to continue doing it moving forward. Share with us a little bit more about why it was important for you and your partners to embark on that endeavor and how you see it benefiting the Black community and Wichita as a whole. It
was really cool. Me, Autumn Black, Danielle Johnson, we got together. Danielle put the pieces together. We are all in different areas. Let's come together and create something. How important is it to be able to have different businesses vend for the first time with us? Bringing It Black, we wanted to make sure that our businesses are at the forefront. We wanted to have events and make sure that we're on TV, promoting our businesses, as well as having our vendors come and speak because people don't know what they don't know.
Right.
And we wanted to be that connector. It started off with wanting to bring Black businesses to the forefront in the city. That grew into, we don't have just one path. We're not just one specific way. We want to let our hair down as well in a safe space to where we could feel comfortable and enjoy each other and networking. We did day parties, brunches, networking events, because it's important for us to all connect and not be in so many different spaces or be the only one, or maybe you don't know about this person. So really being that connector in those spaces.
That's another way it showed up for me. At that first vending opportunity, I had a really... Listen, now, I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole, but I
love how that you're like, hold on, Tasha, don't do it.
I'm going to just say it was a blessing that I made it that morning because the vendor that I worked with did me dirty. I would just leave it at that. I was thinking, I can't go through this next time. There was an older Black man. He was like, do you know Mark? And he was talking about Mark with YBG Studios. And I was like, no. So he connected us. From that point on, my orders were the drop shipper or I went through Mark.
Yeah.
And Mark's quality is amazing. Yeah. Then he had the great idea going into Juneteenth. I had so many whites left over, so he did tie-dye for me.
Oh, nice.
And so it's just being, I would not
talented.
have probably, at some point maybe, but just having that connection made so much more quickly. At the awards over the weekend, he met my sister-in-law. She was like, oh, I don't think I know you. And I was like, you be wearing his shirt all the time.
That is crazy.
She bought one of the tie-dye shirts and she loves it. And so just making those connections, you know.
And how it just kind of...
Yep, just keeps going.
Yeah, it just keeps going. How important is that? Yeah.
So I love what y'all are doing.
Yeah.
And I hope y'all keep doing it.
Yes.
Another thing I have been thinking about, I've been in therapy and... therapists be like, it's time to graduate out. And I'm like, I'm not ready. Okay. But just knowing the positive impact that it's had on me. And therapy may not be the exact thing for everybody, whether it's just they're not ready for it or they still have some stigma attached to it. But identifying other resources and ways that we can get the support that we need, whatever that looks like. For all of us, but I've been thinking about it as an entrepreneur because my last full-time job was so toxic. Mm-hmm. And I found that as I was transitioning into full-time entrepreneurship, those ways of working are so ingrained in you. Mm-hmm. For example, back-to-back meetings. Mm-hmm. Like the way they would go on your calendar and just put stuff up there. I had attached part of my self-worth to people-pleasing and doing. So that first year of therapy was really about unlearning that, being able to look at my calendar and just because there's a blank space, not be signing up for more stuff to do. So entering a new place of work where they don't care about that at all. Mm-hmm. If you got a blank spot on your calendar, we filling it up. I would intentionally put blocks. They don't care. That's probably the least of the toxicity. But that was one thing where I was like, I can't maintain this. But I found myself slowly but surely as I was trying to build my business, operating in that same way. I'm scheduling all these back-to-back meetings. Everybody want to meet in person. And I am drained and sick. And I said, no, I can't. What was the point of leaving that job if I was going to be just doing the same stuff?
Yeah.
So I've been really intentional about, like with my calendar link, updating that to where it's virtual only. We doing in person only if it's necessary. Everything don't have to be in person. I need some of those times to decompress.
Yeah.
Also, the way I configure my calendar, it's not 5 appointments available every day. Finding those particular days, making sure I have an admin day, learn that in Spark. Being a Black woman introduces a whole nother dynamic around Black women's emotional labor in the workplace and the ways we have to not just manage our home life, work life, but when we're at work, managing how others receive us, perceive us, how much mental energy that takes. How has that shown up for you, the need for self-care and if there's any things that have been working for you or stuff that you've realized, okay, you know what, I might need to shift that to take better care of yourself?
Mm-hmm. Entrepreneurship is hard. Mm-hmm. You almost feel like you have to be busy. You have to be booked if you're making progress. Mm-hmm. And that's so not true. I've been a full-time entrepreneur almost 2 years. Mm-hmm. And it's just taken me this past year to be like, no, ma'am.
Yeah.
No, ma'am. I went to a women's conference this weekend and Tasha, who owns the Black Print.
Hey.
Oh, the other Tasha. She owns the Black Print. Yes. She said she has 4 buckets. Mm-hmm. And if what you're trying to do or the event or the thing does not fall into one of those buckets, I'm going to have to say no. Mm-hmm. And my husband's with love because we can overwork. We want to do so much. We want to be there for everyone and everything. But how do you take time for yourself? It's extremely hard. It almost comes with guilt. Like, oh my goodness, what are they going to think? I'm not showing up in this way. Being able to navigate that is extremely hard. Yeah. My husband sat down with some men for barbershop talk about therapy and how important it is. But it is hard for people to want to take those steps. People have bad experiences and it could be a task to find the right therapist for you. Because you go to one and it doesn't work and you're like, okay, well, I tried that.
Yep,
you know what I mean? Yeah. Sometimes you got to shop around.
Yeah.
And that takes effort. Yeah. But your later self, your future self, well, thank you. So take the time to be like, okay.
Yeah.
Let me find someone. Yes. Or what's my thing? Maybe it's this workout class. Maybe it's this community group. Maybe it's my Bible study. Yes. Spiritual, mental, you got to work it. I think I'm still learning. I haven't got down a perfect formula. Yeah. There's days where I'm like, now why did I do this? Or why did I sign up for this? This doesn't make sense. And I could be doing this. And I'm a mom. I have 2 kids. So I have to protect myself. Yeah. So it's not spilling over. So I'm not giving my husband's the leftover. Yes. I'm not giving my kids the leftover. Yes. Because we go through all day faking it. How are you doing? Oh my gosh. But then when you get home, you're like, oh my gosh, don't talk to me. Don't. Yeah. Like, dang, I don't deserve it. These are the people that's closest to you. You want to love on them. You want to be able to show up for them. Yeah. So you have to protect yourself and you have to protect your mental, your physical health. Yes.
Just like with a muscle or anything else, the more you do it, the more you say no. Y'all know I say no doesn't need seasoning. It becomes easier. You start to be able to do it more freely without that guilt. I really believe part of the guilt comes from that idea that you always got to be doing something. It was hard for my mom when we really started getting into remote work. Yeah. Generationally, there's a difference in perspective on you just being able to rest and that not being lazy. A lot of times that's how it's labeled. That's part of what I had to unlearn. I was talking to a friend. This was when I was in the midst of planning the wedding. I'm exhausted and still teaching. I was an advisor. It was too much going on. And part of that was me still taking on too much. But I was saying to her, I'm just so lazy. And she hardcore. And sometimes it takes your friends being like this with you. But it's like she actually got mad at me and was like, you're not lazy. She was like, you're exhausted. You're burnt out. It's this system. She gave me a whole lecture. But I needed that. And it stuck with me to this day. I never say that about myself because I know I'm not lazy. That's like one of the last things somebody could call me. So not even putting that on myself and being able to release some of that we've gotten from past generations. I get the historical
100%. Okay. Like why our mamas thinks that. Absolutely. Self-care, what? Yeah. I got to make sure everyone's fed. It's a completely different, they're doing that out of love. Yes. Yeah. But also, too, as this next generation, that's not a thing. Even with my son, sometimes he likes to play on the video game. And my mom's like, he's playing the video game. I'm like, yes, mama, he's playing. That's okay. He got straight A's. Yes. He plays sports. Straight A's. Okay. He plays sports. He travels. So if I want to give him a day, he mows the lawn. He cleans up. If I want to give him a day where he just does nothing, that's okay. That's okay.
How would you describe being Black in this world?
Scary in the sense that I have a husband and a son, and sometimes it's hard. Sometimes I want to go places with them, just almost be like a safeguard, which is crazy to even think that's a thing, and that's something that I have to do or even have to think about. Yes. But scary, beautiful, like our celebration, good food, good vibes. It's a roller coaster ride. It's a beautiful one. It's a scary one, but it is a roller coaster ride. Yeah. But I'm here for it.
You talked about displaying your Blackness with your fashion. Yeah. What are some other ways you display your Blackness on a day-to-day?
Just show up. It's
show clear. Out, y'all.
It's clear, okay? It's clear. Honestly, just by showing up and just being me. Yeah. I have different parts of me that maybe I display in front of specific people if you get me around my cousins. But yeah, just showing up as myself.
Fashion is part of our culture. And so when you think about Blackness and Black culture, do you think those are the same?
No. Somebody told me who was a Black lady, I think your clothes are for white women. I'm like, for real? I wear them and you like it. So I'm very confused. So no, I think those are two different things because the Blackness is the Blackness. The culture is the hair, the fashion, the food. Our cookouts, you know, it's going to be a good time. Different things in the way that we move, all our hair, the way we get our hair done, the beauty salon, all of that. Yeah.
Ashley Norris and Erin Garcia are two of the beautiful women who put on the Blackout ICT Awards. They have a salon together. I went to Erin. Y'all can't see it right now, but my fro is popping, okay? The cut that Erin put in my hair. I called my mom because she's a retired cosmetologist. And I said, Mom, this was the first time, and I mean, almost 2 decades that I've had that kind of salon experience. You know what I mean? Where I had my hair shampoo. There was another older woman that came in and we're talking about church and all different kinds of things. And it really took me back. To your point, that's the culture.
It's the culture. It's beautiful. When my hairstylist is in my hair and we're talking about life and talking about her husband, her kids, and we're transforming all while at it. You know what I mean? What a beautiful process and a beautiful experience. Even the smells of the salon. Yes. My husband's like, ooh, you smell like the salon. You know, it just smells good. So, yeah.
All of that brings us to the main question of the day. What would you say Black in one piece means to you?
Showing up as me. I'm a mom. I'm a business owner. I'm a woman of God. Okay. I'm a wife. Being able to be in all those spaces and be me. I don't want to put the Kellys on blast, but you all are Black professionals, judges, and different things. And then to be able to see you show up and let your hair down and jam to our 80s, 2000 music. You know what I mean? That's Black in one piece. Is being able to be me, being able to show up in different spaces as myself. It's Black in one piece.
Ooh. But is there anything else you want to share on this topic or in general?
320 South Market, Suite 110. Come see me. I would love to help style you. Follow us on social media. It's 2 Beatz Boutique. Beatz with a Z, 2 Beatz Boutique. We would love to meet you.
Yes. Thank you so much again, Phylicia. Y'all heard it here. Check out all the wonderful things that Phylicia is doing in the community, everything that 2 Beatz has going on, bringing it Black. And until next time, stay Black in one piece.